What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian, as we continue to dive into Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics offseason. And we got some news yesterday that's going to make me think, and it's probably going to make you think, that we are in for a tough few months. But before we dive into that, some potential free agents next year, and of course, your comments, do me a favor. If it's your first time here or you're returning and you haven't done it yet, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It helps us grow. It helps me grow. You grow. We grow as people. Speaking of growing, Nikola Jokic's bank account is not growing yet. The Joker came out and said, hey, I'm not planning on negotiating my extension until next season. Now, financially, there's absolutely a reason to do that. If he extends this year, he's capped at a certain amount. If he does it next year, he can make up to $80 million more. So, knowing the Denver Nuggets, knowing how cheap they are as an organization, you can tell by some of the moves they've made recently, even though it's made their team better, had a lot to do with the cheddar. This is kind of good news for people who would like to see Jokic go elsewhere. Now, the betting favorites obviously would be that Joker returns to Denver, right? That he's like, yeah, of course he wants the $80 million more dollars, but so much more can happen in a year, right? We don't know how this Denver roster is going to gel with the new pieces coming back, right? They added Cameron Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets in their trade. They added Bruce Brown. They still need to find some backup ball handling, even though they did add Tim Hardaway Jr. He doesn't dribble so much. So very fascinated to see how they gel with their new roster. And listen, I don't know, man. Money talks. If they have a weird season and Denver's like, hey, are we really going to pay this guy hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars just to be a semi-competitive team? I don't know. But it does mean we have one more year to just do some Photoshop work, get our graphics together, and say, hey, what if we called him the Joker? Huh? Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Just get him in Boston, kid, right? We could have a lot of fun with Joker in the Boston area. I know a lot of the comments recently have been talking about getting bigs. We'll get to those towards the end of the show, but man, Joker would be fun, right? Now, financially speaking, that would mean one or of Tatum or Brown would have to be gone. And again, this is not going to happen. I'm sure he's going to stay there. But anytime something like this happens, even if it's just for financial reasons, especially with an organization that hates to pay people, anytime somebody gets really expensive in Denver, whether it's in the front office or in the roster, you find them in a different spot. So, something to keep an eye on. Add him, add Luka to the list for next offseason. So as the Celtics maybe, go full punt on this upcoming season, those are the types of things we can look forward to. Do some free agents kind of fall our way now that we have our books clean? This is how you can tell what the vibes are of this video. That we started with the fact that Nikola Jokic just said, I'm not going to sign yet. And I'm like, well, maybe that's Boston, right? Because most of the news we got yesterday was not fun. So let's get into some more Celtic specific stuff. So Dame time, we don't have really any updates on Damian Lillard. That's still like mum's the word. Bradley Beal is yet to be bought out. And then even though there were some Celtics rumors about Bradley Beal, seems like the Clippers are the favorite to be the landing spot. But Brad Stevens did speak yesterday. And one of the things he did cover was like, Al's probably not coming back. In the press conference, I mean, he thanked Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday and Luke Cornett for the work that they did for the Celtics, helping them getting a title, being a true Celtic, right? And then they talked about Al, and he mentioned that he had given both Al and Luke Cornett extending offers, like offers to come back next year. But he basically said plainly he does not expect Al Horford to return next season. So even though there has been some reporting, we mentioned it yesterday. There was, I think it was Adam Kaufman maybe, for the Boston Globe, had reported that it has now come down to the Celtics, the Warriors, the Nuggets, who we just talked about, and then Al potentially retiring. Those are the four spots. But as he said, the longer this gets dragged out, the more likely he thinks they would be landing in Boston, or Al would be returning to Boston. And I just don't see it. It doesn't sound like it. And Brad is saying the same thing too. And again, it goes back. The dude's going to be 40. And if he's going to be like putting his body through the ringer to be playing professional basketball as a 40-year-old, probably wants to do it on a team that's going to win more than 45 games. And as we continue to make our way through Brad's comments yesterday, it's just doesn't seem like that's going to be the team. So Brad talked a little bit yesterday, and he went out and said, like, here are some takeaways from this, but kind of said, like, this is the roster that we've got. The roster that you see right now is the roster that we got. I'm going to quote Bobby Manning, who was covering Brad Stevens' his press conference. And here was Bobby Manning's takeaways. Horford is gone. They didn't rule out paying tax to retain roster flexibility. So that is kind of interesting because I think most of the moves that we've seen so far this offseason seemed so financially motivated. They wanted to make sure they were not going to get into the tax. And so for Brad to come out and say they're not opposed to doing it if they have to. And let's break that down a little bit more. One, that's easy to say when you're not going to do it, right? It's easy to be like, well, we wanted to. We thought about it. We just couldn't afford, it just didn't work out. Like, it's easy to say that when you're not going to do it. But that is good to know for the future. If this is true, then when we get back to winning time, shout out the Lakers in the HBO show. But when we get back to winning some games here, it's good to know that they are willing to get into the tax if need be, right? Let's go back to some of those takeaways. He said Mazzulla is signed for multiple more seasons. So Joey Maz is going to be here for a while. So I think what will be kind of fun this year, and again, if we're trying to focus on what we can enjoy this season, it's going to be watching Joe Mazzulla have to coach, right? Not that he wasn't coaching before, but it's going to be a little bit more challenging without Tatum, without Porzingis, without Holiday, without Luke Cornett, trying to make these rosters work, right? The Celtics will likely begin the season with this roster. And this is what I thought was pretty interesting because that means, they officially welcomed Anthony Simons. They officially welcomed Georges Niang. That means the starting five is this. The starting five, Derek White, pick your poison of Anthony Simons or Peyton Pritchard, right? One of those two will start. My guess is I was thinking it was Pritchard. You all seem to think it's going to be Simons. I'm open to either. I think they're very similar players. But so let's say Simons for the sake of argument. Jaylen Brown at the 3, Georges Niang at the 4, Namias Keita at the 5. That is the starting 5 right now for the Boston Celtics. Then you'd have the other one who's not starting of Pritchard and Simons coming off the bench. You got Baylor Shireman, Jordan Walsh, Sam Hauser's still here for now, Luke Cornett, and Xavier Tillman. I don't know, guys. I don't know. And I know, listen, I appreciate the positive vibes in the chat. I think there's some real believers in there, and I love that. I love that in you. But when we start circulating around the Eastern Conference, man, and you start thinking about, where are these wins coming from and where are we landing in the East, right? The New York Knicks, now they have their head coach, Mike Brown, which, whatever. They are right now the favorite to come out of the East. Somehow they jumped the Cavs. I think that's a bad bet, whatever. The Knicks are right there at 1. Cleveland Cavaliers are right behind them. The Orlando Magic, who added Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones, two specific needs, three-point shooting and ball handling and playmaking. They filled that with probably the two best players they could get. Paolo Banchero, too, just got that big max contract, big money. Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner came back, Wendell Carter Jr., right? Orlando is going to be up there. The Atlanta Hawks, who we've already talked about at length, they now can play defense, which they haven't done in a while because they added Porzingis, who, even if he only plays 50 games, cool. I don't even think he's going to start for him because they're going to be rolling out Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, who is the most improved player in an all-defensive team, Jalen Johnson, who would have made an all-star team if he didn't get hurt. They got the Reese Hache from their rookie season if they want to start that, but they also picked up Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard for shooting. Atlanta is going to be a real team. Then you've got to go Giannis, and I don't believe in the Bucks right now, but they still have Giannis Antetokounmpo. That is still a problem. The 76ers, we don't know what we're going to get with Philly. They got VJ Edgecombe with the 3rd overall pick, but they also get McCain back. They get Maxey back. Embiid, let's see how many games he plays. Paul George. The Sixers are going to be a legit team. Detroit Pistons, who are coming off one of their more successful seasons in a long time, are only going to get better as they get Jaden Ivey back. They get Caden Cunningham evolving into more of a star player. They lose Malik Beasley, who bet on himself in the wrong way. So all of those teams in the East are taking step forwards. You saw Miami Heat get Norman Powell yesterday, and I don't think that makes him an awesome team, but when you compare rosters, man, I think they have a little bit more flex. They got Tyler Hero, Bam, Norman Powell. I mean, that 3 probably is comparable to the 3 that we just talked about for Boston. So I do think the Celtics are in, I don't want to say real trouble or anything like that, but this is what it looks like now, and I think that we've been so blessed. We've been so #blessed to have, a competitive team for such a long time that we just kind of, I don't know, we assume that we're still going to roll that out. But that we just listed, let's see, the Cavs, the Knicks. We didn't talk about the Pacers. Who knows what they're going to look like without Halliburton, which we'll talk about here in a second. Cavs, Knicks, Bucks, Pistons, Magic, Heat, Hawks. I mean, I like that puts us right around the 8 spot. And like the 8 spot in the East is like 38 wins, right? Something like that. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too negative. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep last night. Maybe I am too worried about Nehemias Queta getting too much run. But I do think this is, if Brad is true to his word, where this is the roster we're rolling out, like maybe we overachieve. Maybe we overachieve. But to me, this is such a clear. We're going to try to cut a little bit more costs so we're not paying into the tax. We're going to wait till Tatum comes back and then go. Now, on the Tatum front, because Brad did mention this too, because something that happened this week, Halliburton got ruled out for the entire season, right? So the Pacers have already said Halliburton's not coming back. Now, granted, that injury happened, like 3 weeks after the Tatum one did? So it's a little bit later. Tatum, we've already seen, has been progressing really well. Brad even spoke to it too, like that they're really like he's way ahead of schedule. They would not. So two things happened. They would not put a timetable on him, but they also didn't rule him out for the season. So there is the possibility that Tatum, all of a sudden, it's March and he's feeling good, and he's going to come back. I do think though, like this is a real thing. If he does progress this way, and the Celtics are, 40, like say they're 12 games over 500 in March and Tatum's like, I actually can go now, and he gets cleared medically, then sure, I could see him coming back for sure. If they are 12 games under 500 and he's ready to go, I could see them being like, nah, let's not. Like, why? Why are we doing this? Like, let's just get you in the most pristine health possible and then bring you back. I don't know. That's just my take on the situation. I guess the good news is he hasn't been ruled out for the entire season. I just, man, it's slim pickings. The last thing Brad mentioned, I talked about Nehemias Queta. They said they are going to go Celtics by center by committee. So that means whoever's hot, whatever's the right matchup between Nehemias Queta, Luka Garza, and Xavier Tillman. I do think Xavier Tillman's most likely the odd man out of those three. Brad went out of his way to talk about Luka Garza and how much they've liked him from afar for over the years. So that's promising. I also don't think they would be like, I don't think they would sign Luka Garza and then be like, we're actually not that excited to have him. So of course he's going to say that. My guess is Nehemias Queta has the chance to have the biggest growth, the biggest impact on the team and like steal the most minutes, if you will. And Brad even said that too, like Nehemias Queta is going to have a chance to grow this season. So my guess is the pecking order will be Nehemias, Luka, and then Xavier Tillman behind him. But I don't know. Again, like you're not going to win many games with this roster. I don't think. And I know this is like I'm pessimistic Patty today, but and especially because the last couple of days we've been like Dame time, Bradley Beal. But I think the whole time it had to be focused towards the next season. So that's where I'm at mentally and emotionally here after that day. Who knows though? There's still plenty of offseason left. I'm curious to see if the Celtics make another move. I think for the last couple of weeks, everybody was pretty much on the same page that another move was coming, and then Brad kind of said that's not the case. So who knows? Maybe Brad was taking some notes from Las Vegas here in the World Series of Poker and keeping his cards close to his vest or some dorky thing like that. Speaking of Vegas, we are going to be out there. I'm heading out to Las Vegas actually tomorrow. I'm going to be in the building to see Cooper Flagg's first game. I'm going to be seeing a couple of Celtics games while I'm out there on Friday and on Sunday. So if you are going to be out in Las Vegas, hit me up. Hit me up. Get in the chat. Let me know. We're going to be doing some meetups and having some fun. The Celtics did announce what their roster looks like for Summer League. There's going to be some names you know and some names you don't. Jalen Bridges is joining the roster. I don't know if that is like a mashup of Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, but we have Jalen Bridges, Kendall Brown, someone I'm not familiar with. I apologize. Hugo Gonzalez is going to be there. Hayden Gray, which sounds like a character from like a Riverdale. Ben Gregg with 2 G's. Zach Hicks, again, not a name I'm familiar with. Kenny Lofton of the junior variety. He's going to be there. Miles Norris, Baylor Shireman, Aaron Scott, Max Sugar, Jordan Walsh, Amari Williams, and Isaiah Wong. So that's going to be the Summer League roster. Again, maybe we'll find some stuff out, see what we got in Amari Williams. I'm most excited to see what Baylor and Jordan look like here in year 2 and year 3. Are they going to have the ability to dominate Summer League? That's what always sticks out to me. I want to know that my NBA players can dominate these young guys. And then, let's see what Kenny Lofton has, and then let's see what these rookies have in Hugo, Amari, and Max Sugar. That would be my guess. That's the stuff I'm most excited about. I'm also excited about your comments. So what we're going to do now is dive into some of your comments from yesterday's video. Again, if you've been here this whole time and haven't hit the subscribe button, let's do it. We're approaching 2K. Let's pump these numbers up. Speaking of 2K, I don't know if you saw this, but Shams tweeted out that SGA was going to be on the cover of 2K, and then the 2K account replied to it being like, wow, this is like being on the other end of a Shams tweet, which I thought was great. That was a really funny bit. But anyways, yeah, hit the subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Get involved in the comments, and let's get into some of your comments from yesterday. We got 3 of them. Samuel Henry said Celtics don't need Dame or Beal. They need a center. So that was the first comment. I'm going to throw it in with the second comment where Stunna Swift said we really need someone like Joel. If we had a great center that can score and defend the post, we would be set. Yes, we do need a center. Yes, we do need a center. I agree with both of these comments. Joel Embiid, I don't know if that's somebody that I'd want to go get. Not that I don't believe in his talent, because Embiid, obviously, like one of the most skilled big men I've seen in my lifetime. He plays less games than Porzingis, and he makes $25 million more than Porzingis, and that deal goes on for like the next handful of years. So I don't think I would be moving hell and high water to go get Joel Embiid. But the Celtics do need a center. I mean, I think that was what was kind of intriguing, even though I am a fan of Simon's game, getting somebody like Nick Claxton, because again, I think if you're not paying for the upper echelon guys, if you're not getting somebody like Nikola Jokic, who again has not signed that extension, if you're not getting somebody like Nikola Jokic, or if you're not getting somebody like, I guess you throw Joel Embiid in that category, but I'm not going to do it. Victor Wembanyama or Anthony Davis, even to that extent. I know I'm missing other guys who are very talented, and I apologize. But if you're not getting one of those guys, I kind of just want to go to the middle of the road, like what Atlanta got with Onyeka Okongwu, a guy like Nick Claxton, those like middle of the road guys, I think, that are a little bit cheaper but still get the job done, but are better than kind of the bargain bin that what we're doing right now. I don't think I want to beat, but you're right. We do need a big, and I think you start looking at free agents next year. I know Ivica Zubac is somebody who's due to get a payday from the Clippers. We talked about him yesterday in the comments, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. I mean, I'm curious to hear like who are some of the bigs you would like to target, and keeping salary in mind, because if you go get an expensive one, you got to get rid of an expensive one. The last comment we'll hit is Cincillo96 said trade Hauser, trade Walsh, trade Tillman. Listen, I don't know who's trying to go trade for Jordan Walsh and Xavier Tillman. Xavier Tillman maybe has a little bit more value because we've actually seen him play basketball. Jordan Walsh very rarely gets into NBA games. So I don't think anybody's going to be like, hey, would you guys like a first-round pick for Jordan Walsh? Like, I don't think anybody's doing that. Sam Hauser, I do think, has real value, even though there was some hate in the chat for Sam Hauser yesterday. I think because maybe his three-point ball didn't fall a ton in the playoffs. Mind you, he also got hurt and sprained an ankle. Wasn't playing a ton of minutes either. But just so you guys know, Sam Hauser he shot 41% from three last season. He's also a career 42% three-point shooter, and he's better at defense than people think. I think people think he's like a Duncan Robinson on defense, and that's not what he is. Just they're both white. But Sam Hauser can actually hold up defensively. He's not like a all-NBA defense guy, but he's not a sieve on D. I think like Hauser actually has value, and I think when we get deeper into the season, Brad did say we're going to start the season with this roster, but I think Simons and Sam Hauser, keep the Spidey eyes open, because there is a shot that one of those guys get moved. But I do think Hauser will have value. Other than that, I don't know anybody is being like, dude, sign me up for Jordan Walsh, kid. But that would be cool. That would be cool. Also, what's cool, you guys hitting the subscribe, you guys watching the video and getting involved in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll be back. I'll have a video for you tomorrow, and then and then I'm going to be in Vegas, all right? I'm going to be sipping some margaritas by a pool or something while I'm watching some Summer League basketball. I'm not going to be by a pool. It's going to be 115 degrees out there. That's disgusting. But if anything crazy happens, I'll make sure to have some videos over the weekend. Otherwise, I'll be back right here on Monday. But again, I'll see you tomorrow, so I don't know why I'm getting too excited. Thanks for watching. We are out.